We are bearing down on the local elections in May 2026. It's come around very, very quickly. And in this video, we're going to be looking ahead to what might happen across England. Of course, there is elections in Scotland and Wales as well. But in this video, we are going to look ahead to what might happen in terms of councils, changing control, flipping, all sorts in this video, looking ahead to what might happen in May in a few weeks' time. If that's what you're here for, thank you very much. If it's your first time here, please do take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel because we'll be covering that election on the night and the day. So a little bit of a live stream on the night of the May the 7th and then during the day on May the 8th as the votes are counted. We'll be watching it all come through live. So please do hit subscribe and the notification bell now if that's what you're here for. And if that is what you're here for, please feel free to skip ahead because this first part of the video is going to be the traditional by-election roundup for a Friday that my normal viewers are all here for. So if you're not interested in that, please do feel free to use the timestamp and skip ahead. But for those of you who are here for the usual Friday content, we'll get straight into this. So big result today. Cliftonville ward or division in Kent County Council. Reform were defending from last year when they won it, and they've lost to the Green Party. Now, I think somebody mentioned in the comments last week, most people were saying Reform would win, but one person did. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but one person did say, I remember reading that this could be a Green win at the expense of Reform, and that person was bang on. So Greens with a very, very good result, up almost 27 points to 39% of the vote, a very, very respectable share of the vote to win on, and pretty much replacing Reform, who were there or thereabouts last time. They were down to 33% of the vote, down 7 points. So, look, not ideal for Reform, obviously, and losing out to their pretty much ideological rivals, the other end of the spectrum, very much. Not great for Reform, and I think herein lies the issue for them. Let's look at the Conservatives here on 15% of the vote. They lost 4 points. I think this is the issue. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago when I spoke about Restore Britain at the end of one of these by-election roundup videos. There's not enough room on the right wing of British politics for two main right-wing parties. One of them has to die. And I think the Conservatives and Reform are getting in each other's way, or at the moment, actually, the Conservatives are getting in Reform's way. Now, I don't think it's fair, I don't think it's realistic to suggest that all 15% of this vote share would go to Reform had there not been a Conservative on the ballot paper. I don't think that's how it works. I think things are much more nuanced than that. But I think it's realistic to suggest that most Conservative voters would prefer Reform to win than certainly the Greens. So this is why May is very, very important for Reform, because I think they really need to kill the Conservatives off. I think I mentioned this last week or recently. They need May to be the end of the Conservatives. And that has pretty much been the stated mission of Reform going into these elections. They want them to be gone in Scotland, gone in Wales, and gone across swathes of England. They need the Tories to be killed off because they have to show right-wing voters, and I'm talking specifically to voters who are on the right, or centre-right at least, who are still voting Conservative. You know, we're not talking about the more Liberal Democrat or even Green voter-minded Conservative voter here. We're talking about the one that is actually on the right of centre. Reform need to show to that person, you have to vote for Reform, otherwise you're going to get the Greens. And that's what's happened in Kent here today. You know, really, I think the Conservatives have probably scuppered a Reform win to some extent, if you look at it from that lens, but that is also taking away from the Greens. Let's not do that. In all fairness to them, they're up 26 points. As we said, that's a huge result for them in Reform's heartland. You know, they're going to take huge momentum away from this. Very, very good for them. And I think, like I said recently, they are building momentum into May in a similar fashion to the way Reform were last year. Reform were, ironically, in Kent as well, winning by-elections, or at least being very competitive, but they were winning by-elections, being very competitive in by-elections coming into May last year, and then they took the country by storm. The Greens are doing that at the moment, I would say, this year. So going to be very interesting to see what happens. Labour were down another 11 points. They weren't particularly competitive here in May last year, but down again, pretty much halving their vote share there, down to 10% of the vote. We would assume that's probably all gone to the Green Party. And Reform, just to talk about that, so down 7 points. I always say, don't die, and I know it's arbitrary, but I say 5 plus or minus 5 points is neither here nor there. It's kind of margin of error territory. Once you get above 5, it's a bit more sort of noteworthy. So look, I think one thing this does show us, there's been a lot of news and media attention around Kent County Council since Reform took control last year. I think one thing this shows us is that there is no massive backlash or cratering in support for the Reform administration there in Kent. Look, I don't live in Kent. I've seen so many news stories from it. I've seen so many different people's takes on it. And frankly, it's all very politically motivated, all right? Reform-minded people or pro-reform people are going to obviously say it's being given too much attention. The council's being given too much attention, far more attention than anywhere else. And I think there is some truth to that. I see more about Kent than any other council, and I don't live in Kent. So there probably is some truth to that story, that narrative. And anti-reform people are going to paint it that Reform can't run a council, they're incompetent. And actually, particularly the Conservatives are going to do this because the Tories really need Reform to fail. Because if they don't, then they really are over. So look, I don't know what the reaction is of people in Kent. I saw a number of you in the comments last week when I said this question say, you think it's actually been all right. And that's the vibe you get from the people around you as well. So I think this result shows there isn't a massive cratering in Reform support because of what's happened or how it's been governed since May last year, because the number would be far greater if that were the case. We'd be looking at 15 points plus, I think, if that really was the case. So I think that kind of puts that story to bed, at least in this ward anyway. But look, not a good result for Reform. Here, they've lost by about 6 points to the Greens. So the Greens, it's not a comfortable lead, but like I said, it's a very, particularly these days, good vote share to win on 39%. And the turnout was 38%, by the way. I looked it up this week. I remember to look it up before I started recording. So 38% turnout is very good. Well, again, with the caveat of it's bad, but compared to what we're used to, it's very good. And interesting to see, on a high turnout, Reform and the Greens are the two main parties here. The Labour and the Conservatives are nowhere near, not even close to competing. And again, that's another week we've seen that. The two-party system very much evolving. You can say it's collapsing. I think it's evolving. I think we will still have a two-party system, but it's going to look different to what we've been used to. So that's Cliftonville, Kent. That's that one wrapped up. I've probably spoken for a bit too long, really, because we've got quite a lot to get through in this preview video looking ahead to May. So let's go and quick look ahead to next week and see what's coming up, and then we will crack on with the May preview. So somewhat ominously, perhaps, after that result we just looked at, it's another two Reform by-election defences next week, and they're the only two. So two seats and two Reform defences, and this is banana skin territory here. I've just spoken about the Greens building momentum into May. There's a chance here that Reform are going in the opposite direction going into May. They may well go into this losing 4 seats because we've got these two next week, and then in a couple of weeks before the election, they've got another one to defend in Cornwall. So, this is treacherous territory, really, for Reform. Not an ideal run-up to the elections. Let's see what happens. We've got Narborough and Whetstone in Leicestershire next week. Reform are defending 42.3% of the vote, so similar to what they were defending this week in Kent. The Tories came second. They got 24.5% of the vote last time. The Greens, again, they're third, 14%. Now, they're a long way behind Reform, but they're a long way behind in Kent as well. Can the Greens do it twice on the bounce? And if they can, that really will be quite eye-opening. I would think the Conservatives are going to put a lot into trying to win this back in Leicestershire. It's currently Reform are the largest party, I believe. I'm not actually sure who controls Leicestershire. I'm pretty sure it is the Conservatives. In fact, it is. I saw a story the other day. So the Conservatives do control, Reform do control Leicestershire, but not majority controlled. So the Conservatives will be desperate to win this back to have a positive story for them going into May as well. The other ones, I don't think it takes need too much talking about. We've got Independent standing again. The ballot paper is exactly the same as it was last year. So let's see what Reform do there. Can they hold on in Leicestershire? Let me know what you think. The other one is Cramlington South West in Northumberland, and here Reform are on 39.4% of the vote. So again, a very similar vote share that they're defending, around about 40%. Labour was second here last time, 28.8%, and the Conservatives on 25.2%. I'll be interested to see, I didn't look it up before, who they won this seat off in 2025. Was it off of Labour, or was this one where the Tories' vote share really created? I'd assume it's off of Labour. In which case, perhaps Reform have a better chance here of winning. But again, you see those Greens pop up now, and you just wonder. Not really the Green sort of territory up there in Northumberland, I wouldn't have thought. but who knows? Let me know what you think in the comments. So it's going to be an interesting week. If Reform come out next week having lost another 2 and they've lost 3 seats in 2 weeks, that will not be a great headline for them. Now, in all fairness, you good people who watch this channel, nerds like us, will notice it. People who are online on social media will notice it. But a lot of people out there, a lot of the voters won't actually see it. So when I say about momentum, I suppose maybe that's a little bit wrong-headed, but it wouldn't be great, would it? I have to be consistent in the sense that last year I was saying in the build-up to last May's elections, Reform winning by-elections was, great for them. It's going to be the opposite if they're losing by-elections coming into this year. So let's see what happens. But that's next week, so do tune in for the by-election roundup next Friday. I've been talking for about 10 minutes, which is far too long because we've got a lot to get through in this next section. So let's get straight into looking ahead to the May local elections in England 2026. All right, we're going to start looking at this map, and I'm going to try and get through this map as quickly as I can because I'd rather look at the other maps because you might recognise this one because it's from last year. The reason I got this one up is because, of course, there were 8 councils that had their elections cancelled last year. Tories and Labour tried to cancel them again this year, but Reform brought a judicial review and the government collapsed, or the government folded on that decision, and now the elections are going ahead, which is a very good thing. So very, very brief recap of this map. Of course, Reform won across swathes of the Midlands. They won Kent, they won Doncaster, they won Durham and Lancashire in outright majorities. The Liberal Democrats as well won majorities in Cambridgeshire, Oxfordshire and Shropshire. They were the largest party also in Devon, Gloucestershire and Wiltshire and Hertfordshire. And the Tories got wiped out basically across the country. They only held on to largest party status, not even a majority, in Northumberland, right at the top of the map there, and Buckinghamshire in the middle here. Now, Buckinghamshire has since the election last year, there's been a defector, Reform to the Conservatives, which actually pushed the Tories back over the line to form a majority in their own right. But on the day, they only managed to get largest party. So it was a really, really bad night for the Conservatives and a very good night for Reform and the Liberal Democrats. Now, going into looking at these maps and previewing what might happen and what councils might change control and all that, I've used a website called pollcheck.co.uk. Now, I very much recommend you go and use it if you haven't heard of it already. You can put in your own, there's a little tab at the top, 2026 locals, and then you can put in your own vote share numbers that I've done, what I'm going to explain now. So I looked at the predicted national vote share from the 2025 elections, which you can see on your screen right now. So if you cast your eye to the bottom line of that table, you'll see the predicted national vote shares predicted by the BBC from the election last year. And you can see Reform on 30, Tories on 15, Labour on 20, the Liberal Democrats on 17, and the Greens on 11. So essentially, I've taken those numbers. Now, the reason I've done that is because, and I said I've stuck my neck out on this one, I said it last week, but I think Reform currently are being underpolled. I think they're slightly ahead of where even the average of the polling has them. I think they are close to 30%. That's just vibes. I totally accept that. There's no statistics behind that. There's nothing professional. All right. I've always said I am just a man with a microphone and internet connection. So that's just what I'm going with. So here are the numbers I'm using. Reform on 30, Conservatives on 15. Now here come the other changes because we can't ignore the fact that Labour has become a lot less popular since last year and the Greens have had a surge since last year. So I put Labour also on 15%, the Greens on 19%, which might be a bit heady, but let's have fun with it. And I put the Lib Dems on 15%, slightly down from their 17%, but I just feel like they're not going to improve much on last year. So that's the numbers that I'm using, and that's the numbers that have gone into the model to come up with this video, basically. So let's see what happens with those numbers in mind. So firstly, whistling through these county council elections that were cancelled last year, basically Reform are going to lock out the East Anglia area. So Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex and Thurrock, a little unitary there that Labour currently have. They're going to win all of those. So that's going to go fully Reform out there on England's East Coast. Again, it's going to be an awful night for the Conservatives. They're going to see their control slipping across all of those councils over there. And then we come to the southeast or the south coast area. So currently, the Tories have majority control in West Sussex and Hampshire, and they have minority control, or largest party minority control, in Surrey and East Sussex. Now, let's start with Surrey because Surrey is being cut in half. So it's not going to be a county council anymore. It's going to be a unitary authority or two unitary authorities, East and West Surrey. I don't have that on my map. I only have the one, but for now, we're just going to put it as no overall control. No party is going to win either of those outright. The Tories are going to have a bad election there as well. They're going to lose out. I mean, obviously, it's not like for like because it's going to go to one council to two, but they are going to lose out to the Liberal Democrats, the Greens, and Reform in both of those places. But it's going to go. Both of those will be no overall control. Then we come to the South Coast then, and East Sussex, Conservatives, currently largest party, have a minority. That's going to go no overall control because the Conservatives are going to be almost pretty much wiped out in East Sussex, and Reform will be quite close to having a majority in East Sussex on those polling numbers that I said. If that's the vote share that happens across the country, Reform will be very close to having majority control in East Sussex, but they won't quite be there. And likewise in Hampshire, Reform will be very, very close to having majority control, but they won't quite be over the line. The Tories here not quite as badly defeated as they were in East Sussex, but they are going to be reduced to a much smaller rump than they have and nowhere near controlling the council. The other two, West Sussex is going to go to Reform, if I get the right colour. That's going to be Reform majority control, as is the Isle of Wight as well. So those two will go to Reform. And so you can see just those changes that we've made with those elections that were cancelled last year. The map, from what we started looking at there at the start of this section, already looks a lot different. There's basically no Conservative blue left on there. Buckinghamshire, the only council on this map that is Conservative majority controlled, and Northumberland, where they are the largest party. Look, this is going to be another helping of electoral pain dished out to the Conservatives by Reform. Let's move on now and have a look at London. Okay, so the capital, let's whiz through here. So all London boroughs up for election this year and all councillors up for election. So these are whole council elections, all of them, so they can all change hands. And I think a lot's going to happen in London on the numbers that we've put into the model as well. And we'll start south of the river because most changes south of the river, actually. So for starters, Labour are going to lose control in Greenwich. That's going to go to no overall control. They're going to lose control in Southwark, although it's very, very close in Southwark. They're on the cusp of maintaining majority control in Southwark, even on the numbers we've put in, but it is just about going no overall control. And they're going to lose control in Wandsworth. This was a big surprise in 2022. They gained Wandsworth off of the Tories, along with Westminster, and in this election, the Tories will fight back, but not enough to get overall control in Wandsworth. And they're also going to lose control in Merton. So basically, a lot of no overall controls coming in south of the river on the model that we've got at the moment. But it gets worse for Labour because the Greens are going to hurt them, particularly in Lewisham and Lambeth. Those two are going to go to the Green Party, again, on the numbers we've put in. Now, like I said, 19% for the Greens. That's at probably the higher end of what the polling currently has them at, but like I said, let's have fun with this. So the Greens going to take control of Lambeth and Lewisham off of Labour. So already you can see Labour wiped out south of the river. What about the Conservatives then? So the Tories at the moment, they have a mayor in Croydon, but it's pretty much no overall control as far as the councillors go. It's almost 50-50 in terms of Labour and Tory councillors. That's going to stay the same, no overall control. Labour are going to lose a host of councillors. Tories will lose less, but it will still be no overall control. How about the others? Well, Bromley is going to go to no overall control as well. Reform are going to hurt the Tories in Bromley. Not enough to take control quite, even with them at 30%. If they nudge up to 32%, then it would be Reform majority control. But that's going to go no overall control. But Reform will win Bexley off of the Conservative Party as well. So no Conservatives or Labour controlling a council south of the river based on the model that we're using, which is just really quite phenomenal. So that's south of the river. Let's go and have a look now quickly north of the river and see what changes there. And the eagle-eyed among you might notice there's been a change already because I had, when I was doing my rehearsal for this video, I'd forgotten to change Westminster back to Conservative to Labour red. So another one, like I said, Westminster was won by Labour off of the Conservatives. Massive shock in 2022. Labour winning this off the Tories, but on the model, the Tories would win that back. So spoiler alert, that is going to be blue. Labour losing that one to the Conservatives. So the difference there to Wandsworth, the Tories will be able to get a majority back in Westminster. What else is going to happen north of the river? Well, We've got Newham. That's going to go to no overall control. Labour here going to be massively hampered by the Green Party and the Newham Independents. Now, Newham Independents won a by-election against Labour late last year. Covered it on the channel in one of the by-election roundups. Very much a pro-Palestine Gaza party. So similarly, quite closely aligned to the Green Party of these days. And that's what's going to hurt Labour in Newham. Going to lose overall control, and probably, based off what the model says, the Greens and those independents would probably then go into power sharing, and it'll be a Green independent run council. What else is going to happen up here? It's more joy for the Green Party. They're going to take Hackney off of Labour. They're also going to take Islington off of Labour. So we know they're left wing. Look, this is Hackney, that's Diane Abbott. Islington is Jeremy Corbyn and Emily Thornberry when we're looking at the MPs for these areas, and the Greens are going to take it off of them. So you can see the changes we've made to London here already, like we said, south of the river, but also encroaching now into the North London territories of Labour in London as well. The only other change we need to make based off the model we've got here is Reform will win Havering. Similar to what I said about East Anglia, I think this is one that Reform will win even on the current polling. So even if they don't hit that 30% like they did last year, I think Havering will go to Reform either way. So that's going to be 2 London boroughs for Reform. I think if they do very well, like I said, if they have a better night than what even this model is saying, or the Tories have a worse night, then Bromley comes into play for them as well. That could well go to Reform, and that would look even more pleasant for Reform viewing, but at the moment that's no overall control down there. The other one that's close is Enfield. Labour could lose control of that. That's right on the cusp of going to no overall control, but at the moment the model does have that staying as Labour control. But that actually is the only changes as far as this model goes. Now, like I say, I think there could be scope for some more. Labour are defending big councillor leads, defending big vote share majorities in these boroughs, but I just think the depth of feeling against the Prime Minister personally and against the Labour Party sort of institutionally is well, you guys you must know it. It's almost tangible out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if more than this changes. Like I say, we'll come back to this preview prediction and see what happens in the future. But for now, that is what our London map looks like. Quite a lot of change nonetheless. Particularly for the Greens taking control of 4 London boroughs outright, potentially another one in coalition with independents as well, and Reform nudging in on the east of London as well. Not much joy for the Conservatives either. Winning back Westminster is good for them, but not able to get Wandsworth back. Yeah, not great news for the Tories either, really. Okay, moving on, and we're going to look through basically all of the unitary metropolitan district councils that are up for grabs this year as well. We're going to blast through them pretty quickly because this video is going to go on for ages otherwise. We'll start up at the north of the country, and we'll do our best to get through these as best we can. I might miss some out by accident. If I do, if it's your area, I do apologise. Please feel free to leave in the comments what you think is going to happen anyway. I'm always interested to hear your guys' thoughts, and actually do that anyway. Let me know what you think. Do you think this model is accurate, even if if those numbers are right? Do you think that it's wrong, and which way do you think it's wrong? Let me know. Right, starting up in the very northeast then, let's just see what's going to change. So Labour are going to lose their minority control in Newcastle upon Tyne. That's going to go to no overall control. And in South Tyneside as well, that's going to go to no overall control. Reform are going to win in Gateshead. They're also going to win Sunderland. And so there you go. The map of the northeast changes quite dramatically already. Further south, Hartlepool is going to go to no overall control as well. That's Labour, another one where Labour are going to lose their majority. So of all those councils up there, Labour retain majority control in one, which is North Tyneside. If they're lucky, I suppose. Really not good news for the Labour Party. My model has them losing 16 councillors, and I think this is probably a council that's electing by thirds. So that probably is about as bad as they could do, but they can still maintain a majority because of the number of councillors they've got. I should have mentioned that before I started diving into this. Remember, most of these councils are electing by thirds. Some are electing by all. I can't remember off the top of my head which ones are which, so I'll do my best where I can remember to say. But yeah, most of these are electing by thirds. So therefore, there is going to be a lot going no overall control, because Reform in particular, but also the Greens, but Reform in particular, don't have much, if any, of a presence on these councils already, being a new party, and therefore they don't have enough seats to win in order to take control of these councils. So that's just something to bear in mind as we go through these. All right, diving into Yorkshire and the Greater Manchester area, and again, it's going to be a lot changing here as well. We're going to have Leeds, that's going to go to no overall control. Sheffield's going to go to no overall control. Labour there going to lose councillors. That's currently a Labour minority or Labour-led coalition, but they're going to lose councillors. They're not going to be involved in running Sheffield anymore after this election. Kirklees is going to go to no overall control as well, as is Bradford. Bradford's going to go no overall control. I said there's going to be a lot of no overall controls. Labour are also going to lose their majorities in Blackburn, in Tameside. Angela Rayner's constituency sits inside Tameside, remember. Lose their majority in Rochdale, in Sefton as well. They're also going to get kicked out of any coalition or minority power in West Lancashire, as well as Oldham over here. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Preston, they're going to lose Preston as well. Preston is going to go to no overall control as well. So already you can see there is an awful lot of red disappearing off of this map at a fairly fast rate of knots as well. There's a number of councils on here, by the way, that shouldn't be marked up. It's my mistake when I made the map. South Ribble is not electing until 2027, so that's not, might as well put that as there. That's not electing this year. I'll leave it as Labour because it is currently Labour, but that's not electing, and neither is Rossendale. They're not electing this year either, so that's my mistake putting them on the map. But you can see a lot of red disappearing off of the map, as I say. The other one is minority control or coalition control in Bolton. That's going to disappear for Labour as well. That's going to go to no overall control. So Greater Manchester is changing quite dramatically. So look, you can already see the kind of bad night it's going to be just looking at London, the North East, and Greater Manchester. As we move across into Yorkshire, or back into Yorkshire, things get even more exciting, because here is where we're going to see some flips, because there are some whole councils electing as well, one of which is Calderdale. That's going to go to Reform, as is Barnsley, as is Wakefield. Those three are going to go to Reform. Majority control on that polling that we put into the model, that's what will happen. So look at the change in the north here. No Labour left in Yorkshire. Isn't that extraordinary? Other points of interest before we move on, just out here on the sort of eastern side of the country. Yeah, I'll get my east and west mixed up. Hull is going to go to no overall control. Interestingly, that's Liberal Democrat controlled at the moment, but that's going to go to no overall control, with Reform being the biggest winners of the night. My model has them winning 9 seats. All of them off of Labour, so winning all the seats actually off of Labour and the Liberal Democrats combined. Also, North East Lincolnshire, just the other side of the Humber, that's going to go no overall control as well, with the Conservatives losing out there. It is currently no overall control, but Conservatives the largest party. This model has them losing 9 seats, and so that will just go to no overall control, and Reform will become the largest party in North East Lincolnshire. City of Lincoln as well also goes to no overall control, Labour losing their majority there. So the red disappearing off the map as we make our way down into the Midlands. So let's snake our way down geographically then. We'll go via Newcastle under Lyme, and that's going to go from a Conservative majority to a Reform majority. Reform will win that council off of the Tories, and then we come to the Birmingham area. So what's going to happen here? Well, again, you can see a lot of red on the map, and I'm sure you can imagine what's about to happen. Let's start with Birmingham itself. That's currently Labour controlled, Labour majority controlled. Now, of course, a lot of sort of idiosyncratic issues with Birmingham outside of the national picture. A lot going on there in terms of the bin strikes that we've seen sort of came to a head last year as well. So there is other issues going on. Labour are going to lose control of Birmingham. It's going to go no overall control. The Conservatives are going to lose control of Solihull, also no overall control. The Tories, currently largest party in Dudley, we're going to put that as no overall control as well. So a lot of no overall controls happening. The same in Tamworth. That's electing by thirds. I think most of those, with the exception of Birmingham, are electing by thirds. Also going to no overall control. Reform are going to win in Walsall. They're going to win that off of the Conservative Party. Coventry, which for some reason on my map isn't working, that's going to Reform as well, interestingly. So Reform on this model taking control of Coventry Council as well. And then just to finish it off in this little area, we're also going to have Nuneaton and Bedworth. That's going to go no overall control, as is Rugby, as is Redditch. That's also going to be no overall control. So again, you can just see the red kind of disappearing off of the map. They are going to hang on to Sandwell and Wolverhampton, according to this model. Although I have missed one because that's Cannock Chase, and that also needs to go no overall control. So there you go. The red very much disappearing out of the West Midlands. Look, I think, again, limited opportunities in terms of whole councils, because I think most of these are electing by thirds. Like I say, Birmingham's whole council. There are a couple of others I remember from the previous video that are whole councils. But look, you can just see no overall control really just cutting through the country, and Labour councils falling like flies. The Tories also being kicked out of controlling any council in the West Midlands. So again, yes, Labour are going to be the main story, but the Tories are also going to be in for a really bad night as well. And that's, like I said earlier, with looking at that by-election in Kent, that's what reform needs to happen. Okay, coming across again towards the East of England region, or into the East of England region, we've got some more changes to happen. So Peterborough is going to go from Labour being the largest party to just no overall control. Huntingdonshire is going to remain Liberal Democrat as the largest party in some sort of power sharing, and South Cambridgeshire will also stay as Liberal Democrat. Cambridge is going to go from Labour to no overall control. Ipswich also will go no overall control, and so will Norwich, which again also isn't working on my map for some reason, but it's in here. You can't see my mouse actually, but it's in there in East Anglia. They're going to go no overall control from Labour currently. Greens are very, very close to winning Norwich, according to this model. And as we zoom in here into the sort of east, just out of London into Essex, the Thames Estuary, bearing in mind most, if not all, of these councils electing by thirds, a lot of no overall control is going to happen. So Rochford's going to go no overall control, Southend-on-Sea no overall control, Basildon no overall control, Brentwood will stay no overall control. I can actually keep that. It's going to be Liberal Democrat, largest party. That's going to stay the same, but no overall control. Epping Forest, that's also going to go no overall control. So a lot not necessarily changing, because they were all no majority control there anyway. But the parties who were the largest, they're going to fall away, Labour and the Tories respectively. Continuing around north of London then, Welwyn Hatfield is going to go no overall control. Labour will not be the largest party in there after this election. The Liberal Democrats, who won't be surprised to know, are going to hang on to St Albans and Watford, and they're also going to improve their situation in Three Rivers to be majority controlled rather than just the largest party. Stopping off on Milton Keynes on our way across into Oxfordshire, Milton Keynes is going to go from a Labour majority to a Reform majority based off of this polling. So Reform are picking up councils where they can on this score. Obviously, a lot of it's no overall control for the reasons I mentioned, but where they can make big gains in whole council elections, they are, again, on this polling that I've used, doing pretty well. So moving across into Oxfordshire then, there's not going to be any changes here really. So Cherwell and West Oxfordshire are going to remain Liberal Democrat largest party, but no overall control. And Oxford's an interesting one because the model actually has Labour remaining as the largest party in Oxford City Council despite losing some councillors. I thought the Greens would maybe overtake them, but according at least to the model, it suggests that Labour will maintain the largest party status just about in Oxford. Moving across down towards the southwest briefly then, Swindon is going to go to Reform as well. Again, another gain off of Labour, whole council gain for the Reform Party off of Labour. And then the only other two down in the southwest, right down here, we've got Exeter and Plymouth. They're both going to go no overall control. Labour going to lose majority control in both of those councils down there in the southwest. Coming back across into the southeast then, not too much changing actually. If we start up at Reading in Berkshire, that's going to stay Labour. Lib Dem's going to hang on in Wokingham as well. So this is all staying the same very much. Winchester's, this big orange bit here, Winchester staying Liberal Democrat as well. Eastleigh will remain Liberal Democrat too. But there is going to be change on the south coast. So Southampton is going to go from Labour to no overall control, as is Fareham, interestingly. Now, remember, this is, of course, Suella Braverman's neck of the woods. Fareham and Waterlooville is her parliamentary constituency. The Tories are going to lose overall control of Fareham Council. They will probably still just about be the largest party, but it will be no overall control as opposed to Conservative control. Other than that, not too much else down here changing. I will just change Havant. It is no overall, currently no majority. Labour largest party. They won't be the largest party, so I'll change Havant to grey. And I'm also going to change Portsmouth to grey because Lib Dem's currently the largest party, no overall control. But Reform, on these polling numbers that I've used, very, very close to winning majority control in Portsmouth City Council. So we'll change that one to grey as well. We'll keep Gosport as Lib Dem light orange, because they would still be the largest party there as well. Somehow the Isle of Wight has managed to find its way onto this map as well, so that will go to Reform colours there as well. Moving across into the last bit of the southeast, then we're almost there. We'll stay on the south coast. And what's going to happen down here? Well, Ada is going to go to Worthing is going to go to no overall control. Ada is actually going to be maintained Labour majority. Again, it's only a third up for election down there, I think. Actually, it might be a half. One of them's a half down there, but I can't remember which one. Brighton and Hove is not electing. It shouldn't be on the map, so apologies for that. Ignore Brighton and Hove. Coming up to Crawley, that's going to go to no overall control. Again, only a third of the seats up for grabs, but Labour... actually, when I looked at my model, this has Crawley being won, every seat in Crawley being won by Reform. So that'd be a fantastic result for them there. Moving up into Surrey, as mentioned, this is becoming 2 unitary authorities, so East and West Surrey. Therefore, these authorities you see on the screen here, Mole Valley, Reigate and Banstead and Tandridge, are being disbanded, I think, next year. So they're not being elected this year. They're just going to be folded into the unitary authority as of next year, I think. So those ones not being elected. Into Kent, Sevenoaks is going to, Tunbridge Wells is going to remain Liberal Democrat controlled, and then down onto the Sussex coast, Hastings is going to be where the Greens improve from being the largest party to having overall outright control. And so there we go. We've gone through the whole map of England. I don't think I missed anywhere. If I did, I do apologise. Please tell me in the comments where I missed. Let me know what you think of that. I mean, look how much that map has changed compared to where we started this video. The numbers that I don't know if you can see on the bottom of the screen, you can't. The numbers down the bottom, totals then, Labour majority control of 30 councils, Liberal Democrats 14, Reform 12, Tories just 5. So look, no overall control is very much the winner, as we said, because of the amount of councillors actually up for election in most of these places. That's the reason for that. But it's going to be a bloodletting for Labour in particular. Like I say, I think there's scope that they could lose even more in London. We'll have to wait and see if the model sort of changes in the future. So stay tuned to the channel over the next few weeks. Guys, this has been an extraordinarily long video. Thank you for staying if you got here to the end. I've been meaning to do something like this for a while, and I thought with just the one by-election this week, it was the time to do it. So if you have made it to the end, thank you very much. You're an absolute trooper. We'll do more like this, but maybe broken down into more regional stuff so we can be a bit more sort of thoughtful and timely as we go through the whole map. But that was good fun. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. And like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, do get involved in the comments down below as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.